Hi, everyone. Welcome. My name is Karina with Experience Regeneration, and I am so excited to be sitting down today with Amy Ippoliti. Amy, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing? It's
I'm
great to
really
see
good.
you.
Yeah, good to see you too. So excited to chat. So, for anyone at home who is not aware of Amy's body of work, it is very broad and very deep. Amy is a seasoned yoga teacher and author. She's a regenerative ag and food systems advocate. She's a wellness speaker on health and climate, a Rodale Institute ambassador, and most recently, a graduate student in nutrition at Tufts Friedman School of Nutrition. Welcome, Amy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Cool, cool.
So excited about this event.
Yeah, this event, I'm so grateful to have you involved. You are the epitome of all of the angles that we're going to be programming around at Experience Regeneration, involving personal choices and personal practice, how that ladders up into your community, and how that filters out more broadly. So we're going to touch on a couple of those questions right here. Awesome.
Yay.
So, Amy, if we're going to call your specialty with all of those things that I mentioned, really it's drilling down into soil health. So, why should we care about soil health?
We should care about soil health, I think, because we eat food. And and that's a big thing. And food security and food system collapse
Mhm.
is a hard truth that I think we need to focus on and be aware of. Here in the Front Range of Colorado, we've already had a food insecurity
Right.
situation where, I think about 80% of our fruit trees got knocked out in an early hailstorm or freeze event
Wow.
because it was so warm that the flowers started to bloom. Then the cold temperatures came, killed out an entire crop for the season, like no apricots, no peaches, no, that kind of thing, cherries, all of it. So we're already experiencing food insecurity, even in our farmers market. We've
Mhm.
also had two different farms show up at the market with no produce. They're selling their plant starts
Oh,
or their baked goods, but not actual produce because the drought and the warm winter we had created a situation where they just can't grow.
yeah.
So I think soil health, the reason it's so important is that we are staring down food system collapse, and soil health actually creates resiliency and ability to retain water. And that means that we can grow food even in difficult climate.
Right. Well, super important. And you're talking
Yeah.
about the actualities of it right
Mm.
there. If we put a lens on it right now, how is soil health a metaphor for the way we should be living?
That's such a great question. Soil health, it's like the epitome of community because you have this network of biology underneath the soil that is communicating and sharing resources, and it's incredibly diverse. There's a fungi network, there are nematodes, there's little microorganisms, and they're all working together to create the system of photosynthesis. And so it's a model of interdependence. It's a model of reciprocity, of nourishment, diversity, like I mentioned, and also resilience. Like the more organic matter you have in the soil, the more that soil retains water,
Mm.
which is nourishment. And so we want diversity, which of course we also want in humanity. We want that in the world. That's what gives us resilience and allows us to flourish. And when everyone is given that same sort of piece of the pie, there's a flourishing that happens on a global scale.
Mm.
So it's just such a metaphor for the ways in which we need to work harmoniously and celebrate our diversity, celebrate our interdependence,
Yeah.
and know that every action that we make is going to have an impact on somebody else.
Absolutely. Beautiful metaphor. I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Um, so the next question is going to involve thinking about change in either a shift, which can be just a perspective shift or a habit change that we take
Mm.
individually, or a more outward action. So it could be either. And we're going to look at it three ways. So if you can name one shift or action about how this issue, soil health, can be advanced through the personal, and then we'll look at your immediate, like your circle around you, your community, and then more societal. So, can you think of
Mm.
one shift or action that you could take as an individual where soil health is concerned?
Yeah. So I think that the shift is thinking that when you go to the grocery store, that you can just have anything you want.
Mm.
Like you can have pineapple, or you could have a mango or something, but you live in Vermont. You
It's
know?
January.
So yeah, it's sort of like it's like shifting from this thing of like I can have whatever I want because I can just go to a store, to what if I thought more locally and more seasonally and more connected to the environment I'm actually in? And therefore, it's June right now. Oh, it's asparagus season. It's cherry season. Oh my God, what can we do with asparagus? What can we do with cherries? And so the shift is going like, wow, I can be here, be
Mhm.
where I am in this place and connected to the season. And then the action is going out and actually buying that from a local
Mm.
farmer, whether it's your farmer's market or whether it's the food hub or whatever. But get, or your garden, or your neighbor's garden, and find a way to acquire that food,
Mhm.
but do it locally. And
Mm.
I think you'll see a really amazing environmental impact to that, but also soil health wise, that is growing where you are. And I think also you can start to learn who are the growers in your area. This is next level,
Yeah.
who are actually using practices that regenerate the soil and bring soil biology. And that would mean they're not tilling, they're not using chemicals, they're not using things that would kill off the biology of the soil, but actually nourish it. And there's farmers out there who are super nerdy and passionate about that. Find
Right.
out who
Yeah.
those farmers are. Talk to your farmers.
Yeah, know your farmers. And I think that you've just answered the second one in terms of your immediate community is that connection, taking from the
Yeah.
personal to knowing your farmer. That's the collective, that's the community that you're in. And then
Hmm.
what about taking this one step wider, which is a big step from community more to like a society? And like what is a shift or action we can take where soil health is concerned on a more societal level?
Well, I think there's a few things. There's a lot of angst right now about sort of like facing the inequities and the oppression that's out there in the world, sort of facing it head on. And I think that's really important. I don't want to discount that, but I also feel that like if we're building soil health and resilience right where we are in our community, we can create like a shift in culture so
Mm.
that we can sort of be the change we want to see in the world. So rather than just going to like fight, 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 it's this, hey, let's be the kind of people that are eating seasonally. Let's be the kind of people that are looking out for each other, just like the mycelium structure and the biology in the soil, they're looking out for each other. Let's be that, right? And let's learn how to live regeneratively as a community. And that's what's going to shift culture to create the new world that we desperately need.
Mm.
So I think that's sort of the community piece. I also really feel that it's vital for our society to get informed, to have better education, to dispel some of the disconnection that we have from nature, which is occurring through overuse of social media, internet, phone. There's such a disconnect to nature, but I think also in schools, that like our education system is creating so much ignorance and
Mm.
disconnection to nature
Mm.
that then people don't know. People don't know what they don't know, and we
Yeah.
get into problems where we're extracting from the earth and we're just throwing away, a clamshell that we got at the grocery store, or we're buying that pineapple instead of, buying something local or whatever.
Yeah. To that point,
So,
shout out to Nora Latore, who will be with us at Experience Regeneration, all about getting real food into the schools. So start it young because, I mean, I think the point of our gathering as well is you learn it when you experience it. So your point is
that's
very well
right.
taken around education being so crucial. So one last question,
Yeah.
my dear. Name a person or resource who has inspired you the most in this area.
Well, I would say hands down that the Rodale Institute has inspired and started my whole curiosity about this topic of living regeneratively. It was just, my first trip to that farm and walking around and being in a little golf cart with the now CEO, Jeff Katch, who's going to be one of our keynotes at this event. Um, all he had to say to me was, you know what? When we farm regeneratively and we tend to soil health, we can sequester the world's carbon, the legacy carbon that's up in the atmosphere, and sink it into the soil. And that would actually, you know, be a solution for the climate problem. And I went,
Oh,
oh, and it's really good for human health and everything else. And that was just I mean, huge. So the Rodale Institute and all they've done to advocate for soil health, for studying soil health, for doing 40-year farming system trials comparing, industrial agriculture to regenerative agriculture, and comparing those, and or organic rather, has given us the evidence and the credentials that we need, to know that this is the way to go.
this is the way. Yeah. Love it.
Yeah.
Rodale. We're so lucky to have Jeff with us and Rodale support.
Yeah.
And what better way to kick off the event series than with Rodale telling us what regenerative living is all about. And so much
Yeah.
of that inspiration has come through you to me and now
Oh,
spreading it out to others. So, Amy, I'm so grateful for you. Thanks for taking the time today.
yeah. Well, I have to say it's such a extraordinary opportunity to get people together, who are interested in their own well-being, their own health, and um, even spiritual practice as it relates to living regeneratively. And I'm just so grateful that you're creating this medium for us to all gather and get into that space of really critical education of how we want to create a new world together, and lean into systems of community support and seasonal eating and all those things so we can shift culture.
Yeah. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so
Thank
much, Amy.
you.
All right. Take care, love.